Dragon's Dogma 2, Steam reviews are fire. I'll read a few of these posts here. A lot of people are unhappy about this. I did see this. This was like, this really made them look bad. So basically, the Dragon's Dogma 2 director said that if you dislike fast travel, all you have to do is to make travel fun, right? Which is the solution to fast travel is not, or the solution to moving around in a map is not adding fast travel, it's to make traveling fun, which is true, right? I mean, I think that's a perfect situation, but the truth is that whenever you say that and then there's a microtransaction to make fast travel easier, then yes, obviously it's an advantage. I'm going to say two things that are both true but might seem contradictory. This is bad and it makes the game worse, and it also doesn't matter. This type of gameplay and this stuff will not affect your gameplay experience at all. There are a lot of port crystals in the game. My understanding is that there is a cap of 10 of them, and so if you buy one of these, you still need the item in order to activate the port crystal, so you are effectively buying a car, but you don't have any gas. You have to earn the gas in-game. A lot of people that upvote comments like this and talk about this stuff, most of the people that do that don't actually know anything about the game that they're complaining about. Like they haven't played the game, etc. And also I want to say too, one other factor is that I do think that these comments and also the reviews, I think everything here is totally fucking fair. Absolutely fair. 100% fair. There is nothing wrong with these comments. They're totally okay, and they are completely justified in saying them, because I think that, again, people should be able to give their feedback, even if it is fucking stupid. People are emotional about this, and I agree with the emotion. But it is not logical. Let me explain why it's not logical. Microtransactions are bad. Why are microtransactions bad? They are bad because they create a profit incentive for a developer to make a game inconvenient. That's not happening here. Because number one, this doesn't really make the game more convenient because you need fairy stones to use it. Number two, this was not a change in the game. This was simply something that was added. And the first game and the second game's travel system is basically the exact same. I think that there is an infinite fairy stone that you get in the first game, but you only get that in the DLC, which came out years later. And also that it makes the game and makes progress in the game meaningless because you can pay for progress. This is not paying for progress. It's not. And again, is it good? No, it's not good. I'm going to have to say this 100 times because people get it twisted. It's not good. But let's be logical with this. It's not a big deal. Because if it was a big deal, here's the real fucking proof. If this stuff was really a big deal, then Devil May Cry 5 and Monster Hunter World would not be loved games whenever they had the exact same type of bullshit in it. That's the reason. Basically, this is what gamers want. Gamers want, like PC, like hardcore PC gamers, anti-microtransaction, people that really dislike it. They want to create an environment where it is so toxic for a game developer to add in a microtransaction that the game developer is afraid of adding the microtransaction in. And so what players try to do is they try to create an insanely toxic atmosphere for developers to try to punish them for adding in microtransactions. But the problem with that is that the developers don't really care, and also the people that you're complaining against. So basically, the players are getting mad at the developers, and the developers are getting the hate, but the truth is that the real people that are doing it are the executives. Those are the ones that are actually doing it. Those are the ones that are really causing the problems. And the developers are just sitting there making the game. What ends up happening is that the players get really angry at the developers, and the developers probably don't want this either. So what do? How do you deal with this? I'll tell you how to deal with this. Don't buy the game. If you don't like this type of system, don't buy it. If you do anything else, like literally nothing else will work. But don't you think that review bombing would affect the sales in some way, even small? It would affect the sales in some way. It would add a small effect to the sales. But the reality is that that effect is going to be counteracted by the, what do you call it? That's going to be counteracted by the microtransactions in the first place. Why Dragon's Dogma 2 reviews are bad. Number one, And so all this stuff is silly. Like, so this is, in my opinion, I think that this is the dumbest thing. I actually don't care about any of these other things because I either, like, they don't really, if, like, the performance is fine on my PC, and if it's not, I'm sure it will be fixed in time. That's what's happened with, like, 15 other, like, console to PC ports, right? Microtransactions, again, I just don't buy them, right? So, problem solved. Price of the game, oops, just a second. Price of the game, it's like a $60 or $70 game. I've been buying those for 15 years. Inflation exists. I don't think it's completely unreasonable. That's fine. Save issues, I think this is obviously bad, but it's not really a big deal. I think they'll probably fix this. It's like a bug. Pay to change character appearance. This doesn't really matter because you can get one in-game. De novo, again, the performance on my PC wasn't affected by this, so it's not relevant to me. This is the only thing in the game that I actually find to be problematic and bad. Like, this is, like, if I was going to make a tier list, this would be at the top of the tier list right here. It's at the bottom right now, but let me just go ahead and explain it visually, right? This is my score weighting, okay? Like, this is an S tier problem, and these are like B tier problems. Dragon's Dogma 2 microtransactions, the reason why we should crack games. No, it's not. I actually I saw this, and this is like, you know, I know people like to get mad about my opinion on this, but this is the most retarded thing I've ever seen. So, like, let me get the logic here. Because you don't like the way it's monetized, you should steal it? No. Like, you shouldn't steal it. Like, then just don't buy it. Just don't buy the game. And also, like, if you want to steal it, then do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! But don't go and tell me it's justified because it's got microtransactions in it. No, it's not. It's not. What the fuck? No, just steal it. Like, I'm so sick of these fucking, like, moral high ground dandies that constantly need to be validated for their obviously bad choices. If everybody did this, then nobody would make any games. It ain't justified. Yeah, it's clearly not justified. Steal it, but steal it with a smile, and don't tell me you're a fucking freedom fighter, okay? That's fine. You steal it and then play a thief character in game. Yeah, there you go. Trying to rationalize being a thief. Yeah, exactly. Are you allowed to crack it if you pay for the game? I don't really care. Like, I don't, like, I love how people that are, like, so hyper-focused on, like, the ethics of pirating a game are constantly trying to create, like, these, like, weird, well, what if it's a Tuesday at 9:43 in the morning and, you know, the sun isn't out yet and it's a cloudy day, and I download it, but I use my other computer that I haven't logged into for a while. Like, what are we doing? Just stop it. Stop playing these intellectually dishonest games with yourself. It's so weird. I think people are saying that it doesn't work because eventually it gets cracked. You're saying that it works because I'm assuming that it stops the majority of people from pirating it. So let's keep in mind that no law has ever reduced the amount of crime of a certain... Like, nobody has ever been able to create a law that prevents crime. Every single crime that happened in the days of Cain and Abel happens now. Every single one of them. There has never been a law in the history of man that has ever actually stopped a certain crime from happening. De novo is the same thing. De novo is a reduction mechanism. I'm not defending de novo, by the way, but I'm saying that it is naive and silly to act like it doesn't work. It clearly works. Does it solve pirating? No, it doesn't solve pirating. It doesn't stop everybody from pirating every single game. But it dramatically reduces it to a point to where the investment in de novo is clearly worth it for all of these companies. That's why they do it. It stops the majority, yes. It's like, again, I've said this many times. If you have a race and you have to run down a track and you don't have any hurdles, everybody's going to be able to do that race. But if you put in 3 hurdles, some people are going to fall and they're not going to make it to the finish line. If you put in 10 hurdles, more people are going to fall and they're not going to make it to the finish line. And if you put 50 hurdles in there, almost everybody is going to fall, but there will still be some people that make it to the finish line. Does that mean that the hurdles didn't work? No, because they probably restricted and filtered out 80 to 90% of people. But because the last 10% of people are there, people like to cope and say, oh, well, it's actually not working. Of course it's working as intended. That's why they keep doing it. Update from the devs about Steam version. Okay, here we go. Update you, crashes and bugs, starting of a new game, looking at a feature in Steam. Oh, okay, so this is actually really good. So now apparently the Dragon's Dogma 2 team responded to the concerns. To all Dragon's Dogma 2 players, we would like to update you on the status of the following items. We've received numerous comments from the community. To all those looking forward to the game, we sincerely apologize for the inconvenience, crashes, and bug fixes. They're going to fix them, okay? The option of starting a new game. The option of starting a new game. We are looking at adding a feature to the Steam version of the game that will allow players that are already playing to restart the game. We will announce more details as soon as we can. Why not, like, can you just give us save files? Can you give us, like, 2 or 3 save files? Like, that'd be good. I mean, because, like, restarting is, like, yeah, that's better than nothing, but, like, can't we just have, like, 2 or 3 save files? Yeah, I mean, that'd be nice. Paid DLC. All the items listed below can be obtained in-game or as paid DLC. Okay, so, yeah, all these things. Okay, got it. Regarding frame rate, CPU usage, we're aware of that. Settings, reduce GPU load. However, we're looking into ways to improve. Okay, so basically, the only thing that we're getting out of this is that they're adding a version to restart. Like, that's basically about it. Paid save files. Yeah, I don't know why they can't have... Like, I think this is really what's stupid, is that I was just thinking of the fact that they sponsored me to play the game, and I'm, like, shitting on it. But I mean, it's pretty stupid that you can't just fucking save multiple versions of the game, right? I mean, why not? It seems like it's so easy, you know? You know, Sheldon? I mean, I think that I am fair. I am the only person who is fair. And the truth is that they sponsor me because I am fair. If I was a shill, it wouldn't be worth as much. Think about it. Because if you could just pay somebody to say whatever you want them to say, it doesn't matter what they're saying. I think, like, this is the problem that people have. And, like, this is, like, kind of a meta problem, is that, like, gaming. So, like, basically, imagine, like, you're playing chess or you're playing checkers. And, like, one side is the developer and, like, the publisher, and the other side is the player. And it feels like the player doesn't have as many pieces on the board nowadays, right? And the developer has a lot more of your pieces. Like, for example, like, your save file is now in an online cloud. It's not a local save file. You're not able to mod the game. And so, like, all of these things that, like, people are used to having access and autonomy in, now they don't have that autonomy because of the way that the games are designed and the way that, like, they're marketed and the product is put out there. And I think it's really disappointing, and I do think that gamers in general, it would be really great if gamers collectively could not buy these things and not support this kind of stuff, because I don't really see the reason why you can't have a local save file. It's not really a big deal. Like, why is it that Elden Ring can do this, but Dragon's Dogma can't do it? I don't know. Devs are not suits. Yeah, no, I get, like, so this is the sad thing, right? Is that I think that if you want to talk about the real base game, you know, the base game is good. The problem is not necessarily that. It's like all of the secondary stuff, you know? It's not online. Oh, yeah, no, I was just giving that as an example. Like, for example, like always online, like Diablo 4, how, like, it's always online. Like, I know that the save file for this game is local, and the way that I know that is that people are talking about where the save file was in the directory. Like, I think it's like on here. But then somebody didn't somebody delete the save file and then it banned their account because of, like, you're right, online only sucks. I disagree. Yeah, no. So, didn't somebody, like, try to delete their save file and then de novo auto ban their account? I think so. Yeah, I read something about this. Like, I was, like, in bed and I was, like, just reading shit last night before I went to bed. You know, the game industry is in a meme state whenever Coomer garbage gacha games release in a better state than this. You know what? I was thinking about that because somebody said yesterday, they said, why are you playing this and not Star Rail? Star Rail never crashes. And I was like, that's funny, right? And then I thought for a bit longer, and I was like, yeah, but it's also true. Star Rail doesn't crash. I wish that people that are on these subreddits are not... So this is the problem with, like, video games, right? Is, like, people are so fixated around trying to justify their purchase that they're not thinking about, is this good or not? Is the game good or not? Like, what are we doing? What is this? Like, just fucking think about the game. True, yeah, exactly. I don't know why it was crashing on PC, the shit they put in the game. I think there's plenty of reasons why games crash, yeah. Like, if you paid $70 for this game, and you're having fun, then you didn't waste your money. It's like people, they need to have other people like the game in order for them to think that it's so fucking cringe. Oh. It's just annoying, dude. Too many people rely on others to tell them how they think. Yeah. Like, for me, it was kind of weird to see, like, so, okay. I'll give some unpopular opinions, all right? Some unpopular game opinions. Let's go ahead. We're going to scroll down, look at some of these. Blasphemous 1 story is way better than Blasphemous 2. Blasphemous 2 gameplay is way better than Blasphemous 1. Maybe that's popular, maybe it's not. I don't really know. Code Vein is unironically one of the best and most true-to-form Souls-likes that's ever been made, and very few games ever recaptured this. The gameplay for this game is phenomenal and amazing, and I wish more people recognized it. I think this game, Bleak Faith, was one of the only games that recaptured some of the desolation that Dark Souls was supposed to have, and it did it in a unique way that I've never seen happen, but it was also a bad game. Let's see, what else do we have? I don't like Deep Rock Survivor a whole lot. I don't like how, for example, the mining mechanic cannibalizes the attack mechanic. I think it's annoying. Let's see here. I like Dragon's Dogma 1 jump better than Dragon's Dogma 2 because you can jump higher and it's cooler. Enshrouded is, in a lot of ways, a more interesting game than Pal World, even though Pal World was way more popular. Grand Blue Fantasy is an incredible game that deserves more attention. Nobody cares about it. Let's see, other unpopular opinions that I have. Helldivers 2 isn't fun playing solo. Let's see, next. Lords of the Fallen was bad. New World is actually a better game than people give it credit for. Nightingale was, I don't know, is that unpopular? That this is a bad game. A boring game, at least. Yeah, I can have, like, so many of these opinions, and it's like, these are warm takes? Are they really? I mean, yeah, go through the whole list. All right, let's keep going. Remnant 1 is worse than Remnant 2, but Remnant 1's, status effects are way better. I think Remnant 2, for the quality of the game that it is, and Remnant 1 also, is vastly underappreciated. I think this is actually, if you count FPS games as Souls-like games, this game has some of the cleanest and best hitboxes in any game ever, and I think the cube boss in Remnant 2 is one of the most innovative and unique cool bosses that's been added in any game, and I know a lot of people hate the cube boss. They're wrong. It's an amazing boss, and that's all there is to it. And so, it's not FPS. Yeah, it's kind of a shooting game. I don't know, like, whatever, right? Let's see here. Sons of the Forest had better lumberworking mechanics than any other game that I've ever played. Let's see here. Jedi Survivor wasn't even nearly as good as people thought it was. I thought it was powerfully mediocre, and the game's gameplay wasn't really that good. And like, it was only something that you would recognize if you're playing the hardest bosses on the hardest mode, but the hitboxes for the game were trash, and I don't think that it really, it should have been a lot better than it was. But it was one of the better attempts at a Star Wars game. V-Rising's camera is fucking annoying, and it's the reason why I don't play it. Every decision that the Valheim developers make... the decision of restrictions that Valheim has are low-key genius. And the Mistlands is the worst biome in the game, and all it does is highlight every weakness the game has. Wayfinder is actually a really fun game, and it's sad that nobody cares about it. Wulong was garbage. And this one was also garbage. So yeah, I have a lot of unpopular opinions about games. People need that. They need that validation. Wulong Andy's man. Yeah, I played the whole game. It was garbage. Wulong and Wilson definitely crap. Yeah. And, yeah, these were base takes. I know. Wayfinder comment was great. Yeah. And so, like, I have a lot of Malders in chat the whole time. Yeah, I hope we get Malders, because like, I want you guys, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to normalize liking video games that other people don't like. I want to normalize having your own thoughts. You know how, like, pawns in Dragon's Dogma don't have their own free will? Well, whenever you have to base your opinion on a Reddit, what's that? You know what I mean? That's what it is. And so people have their opinions. Yeah, dude, like what you like. You don't need anybody to justify that. Like, and the thing is, like, so this is the thing. Oh, Dragon's Dogma 2. Let me go ahead and give some unpopular opinions about Dragon's Dogma 2. We're going to be talking about gameplay, you know, like the thing that really matters. I think Dragon's Dogma 1 is better in a lot of ways. Like, for example, I think that the jump in Dragon's Dogma 1 feels a lot better. I also think that Dragon's Dogma 2 did not need to reinvent the world. I think they made a mistake because, like, I think they made a mistake in Dragon's Dogma 1 by killing the dragon. And I think they also made a mistake. Oh, you could say that's not the canon ending, and the canon ending is that the player, you know, like, makes the pact with the dragon. But, like, the fact that the game, like, dragons are immortal, right? They're spoiler. Too bad. It's over. You already know about it now. It's ruined. You shouldn't play the game anymore. It's dead. It's been 12 years. Too bad. And so anyway, basically, Dragon's Dogma is the perfect genre to create a repeating story that continues over generations. In the same way that, you know, like Castlevania, for example, or Dark Souls 1 and Dark Souls 3, another good example of that. And, you know, Final Fantasy does, like, a different universe. I would have really liked and preferred even if Dragon's Dogma 2 was just a continuation of the Dark Arisen story, but 150 or 300 years in the future. And they even have some versions of that with, like, having Rook in the game still. And I think that there are a couple of other pawns that used to be in Dragon's Dogma 1 that are still in the game. So, like, why can't you have the stories of, like, what happened in Dragon's Dogma 1 be the mythology that's referred to in Dragon's Dogma 2? Because mythology is referred to in Dragon's Dogma 2, and it's referred to many times, like with that guy in jail talking about, like, oh, 140 years ago this happened. Why can't he be referencing things from the first game? And so there's a lot of, in my opinion, like, interplay that could have been done to really increase the texture of the game and make it better. And I think the story is more one-dimensional for a reason that doesn't need to exist. And yeah, that's basically what my opinion is. It's an endless loop. It's part of the lore. Yeah, but the endless loop can be aware of itself, which makes people that are players from the first game feel good. It's like, oh yeah, I know about this. I played the first game. So yeah, that's actual gameplay reasons. Stamina being consumed outside of combat. Like, so if you want to go for a realism argument that stamina will always be consumed at all times, then you should take stamina out of being consumed in cities. Of not being consumed. So you should consume stamina in cities. If stamina is a universal thing that occurs in all instances, then cities should not have a protective aura around reducing your stamina. This is a illogical thing. It doesn't make any sense. Even if you want to say one city, it makes sense because of some magic aura. Every other city has the same exact thing. So then you are assuming, because obviously this is simply a gameplay functionality reason and not a lore reason, then if you're talking about it from gameplay functionality perspective, then you should not be able to lose stamina whenever you're running in the open world, whenever you're not in combat. And there is a combat distinction because music plays and you can't save. So there is a combat state and there is a non-combat state. I think that you should not be able to use stamina whenever you are not in the combat state. There is no reason that makes the game better that you can't use that you use stamina while you're not in combat. It's not a big deal. Of course it's not. I love this game, but this would make the game better. Like Elden Ring did this, and I think it makes Elden Ring better. Stamina is a resource? Well, then if it's a resource, then why don't you have to use the resource in town? Where is the logic? You see what I'm saying? Like, logic in games matter. I want games to be as good as they possibly can be. This is my opinion. This is what I think. This isn't a fucking, God did not write this on 10 Commandments. If you disagree with my viewpoint, totally fine. That's you. But this is me. That's what I think. No stamina on light attacks? Yeah, exactly. And also, like, yeah, let's take this a step farther. So, skills cost stamina, but jumping doesn't? Oh, I don't know about that. That's outrageous. It doesn't make any sense. And again, and the reason why it is this way is because the game is made this way because it works well for gameplay. And I'm just trying to build a foundation on the fact that the reason stamina works the way it does is not because it is logical, it's not because it's realistic, it's because it is gameplay focused. And so, based off of the context of it being gameplay focused, I think that it is not designed well. Actually, that's not true. It is designed well. I think it could be designed better.